Hello. Hi, welcome to your coffee break. Have you got coffee, tea, herbal, water, smoothie, squash, juice, whatever it does, you having a break. I am going to have a little chat with you. I'm going to share some thoughts that are coming through for me, for you, to me, to you. I've got some cards here which I'm giving a shuffle because I want to pull us a card and do some EFT tapping with you. So I'm celebrating, oh, one just jumped out, we'll have that, thank you. I'm celebrating that we've got going in the Freedom Centre. So loving doing EFT tapping with a group of PDA parents and bringing that energy. And I had this awesome testimonial come from one of the members that I want to share. And I will write it down exactly what they said because they said I could share it. But the gist of it was in them just really acknowledging the power of group work, where somebody brings something and that energy and that intention comes into a shared space, and then it speaks to someone else and they bring their perspective or they bring their asking through, and that's responded to, and how it grows in the group. And that, for me, to have that feedback from the first session was so powerful for me, because that's what I really acknowledge about the power of group and community. And whether you intend to join the Freedom Centre or whether you come into Peace with PDA, you are always contributing to the whole, and I so value and appreciate you all and all you bring. And when I bring things through in this space, is to give you the opportunity to respond to it and to add to it. So if you want to bring anything in terms of conversation, you can always come in the comments and add things, but also what you bring in your heart, what you bring in your intention, what you bring in energetically when you respond in yourself by receiving this video and joining in with EFT tapping contributes to our community growth. And I just love and value that so much. Thank you for being you and for being here and for being a part of my parenting and life experience. So I wanted to tell you, we had a day out with my mother-in-law, which is Granny, and we went to a Sea Life Centre, which was a really gorgeous day out, and we all really enjoyed it. You know, when you have one of those days which just comes together and you can tell that all three of you are just really enjoying the space, really enjoying being together, really enjoying everything that's going on there. We had nice food, we had nice conversation. It just flowed really well. It was good timing, you know. It was just one of those days that unfolded really well. And so I'm just celebrating that. That in itself, that is really what I wanted to share, but it's just lovely, isn't it? And so I think therefore it's like in my mind a lot. And it made me think of something I wanted to share with you. And this is, I got thinking through this interaction in my own experience about where we get motivated for change. And actually the tools for change are really important. And I love to share EFT tapping because I think it's an incredibly powerful tool. I'm going to share a bit in the story in a minute about how I used it in a certain circumstance for change. But the tool is only something we're going to pick up if we're motivated. The motivation has to come first. And actually, sometimes something can be uncomfortable and can be maybe not working for our greatest and highest good as such, you know, bringing us into our highest expression of ourselves in our most glorious selves. But actually, it is serving a purpose. Those patterns and habits can be working for us in maybe dysfunctional, maybe limited, maybe conditioned ways, but actually they make us feel safe in their familiarity, and maybe we're just not at all conscious around them. So when we were at the Sea Life Centre, I was celebrating that I was so enjoying getting up close to the tank and watching the fish, because I had a fish phobia. And I used to feel a bit dizzy, giddy, want to get away. The last thing I ever would want to do if I saw a tank of particularly big fish, specifically big grey fish, I still don't know why, I would just want to get the heck away from that. So to enjoy them, to see the beauty in them, to be up close and celebrating that and enjoying that with my daughter was a big thing. And I used EFT tapping to support me in making that shift a long time ago. And to be honest, I'd forgotten about it because it was, you know, it's so familiar to me now to go and enjoy the fish. But then we saw a big sort of yellowy, horrible, evil, grotty eel, right? So can you see my reaction? I have not done the work around eels, and that came up for me specifically. My nervous system is not too triggered. I can go up. I know there's glass there. I know it can't get me. I could not be in the water with it, but that's okay. I don't need to be. But when I look at it, I can feel that trigger in my nervous system. I can feel what I call static in my body's energy system in terms of EFT tapping. That's what we talk about, static, because there's thoughts, but there's also feelings in my body. There's a sense of wanting to step back. But there's also, I had an awareness of things coming through. Like I had an association with, I don't know if it comes from this or not, but I had an association with, you know, in The Little Mermaid, Flotsam and Jetsam, the mean eel. So I've got this, eels are mean. They're often a mean character in stories, aren't they? And the way it moved its mouth and it looked at me with its beady eyes. And I had an association with that of it. It was like, it's mean, it's like it wants to get me, it's like, you know, not a nice character. And so if I was doing EFT tapping with myself, which I might have to, now I've noticed this, around eels, I would get myself to brainstorm. I'd put eels in a circle in the middle of the paper, and I would draw out lines, and I would write all these associations down, the conscious ones. And then I would give myself some time and space for some of the unconscious ones to pop through. So I'd write down association with Ariel and Flotsam and Jetsam, the way it moves its mouth, its colour. I don't know why I objected to its colour. Poor eel, just living its life. Oh, another one just came through for me. The fact it's sneaky because it's like hiding, ready to jump out on its prey. It's sneaky. I would acknowledge the fact I want to step away. I got a flutter in my belly where my adrenaline kicked into my belly. So I'd write all these things down and allow space for more to pop through. And then I would start applying the EFT tapping on them. But the thing is, I don't come across eels very often in life. It's only because at the Sea Life Centre, I noticed this, that maybe it's like, because of the therapeutic a challenge within me, I guess, because of who I am and what I do, I'm kind of like, maybe I could look at this now. But actually, eels are not a problem in my life. I don't go diving. I don't come across eels. They don't cause me problems. So there's something that I can quite easily and comfortably park in the forget about it pile. I don't need to do EFT tapping. There's not really a motivation apart from this little one coming through because I'm sharing it with you now. Whereas the fish, a bit of motivation came up for me because I wanted to enjoy going in a restaurant where there was a fish tank and not freaking out going into someone's house where there was we've even got a goldfish now, which is getting enormous, by the way. And Eliza's goldfish, and it's like getting really big, and I have to clean it out. So I have to put my hand in the water. These were all big things for me once. And so, you know, there was some motivation there. But yeah, I've only taken it so far because I've still got some discomfort. If I was going to go diving, that would bring up still a reaction, which I haven't done the work on. And I haven't had that motivation to push me into what feels uncomfortable and unpleasant to look at and to deal with, and a time priority and energy priority. So I park it. And we do this all the time in all our stuff in life. There are so many areas of my life, in all of our lives, where I could have an easier time and I could grow and I could have a bigger life experience and I could be more expansive and I could be more comfortable. So many areas of my life that I could tell you about, you know, and I know you could, me too. But until I come across that like slight wall, that resistance, that challenge in my life, I don't really look at it. When things come up, we get motivated to look at it. And I think we have an amazing gift as the parents we are, because I think our children and young people that we have a life experience with call us motivate us into looking at things and letting go of things and clearing the path in areas of our life that otherwise we might not have. Because maybe we wouldn't have come across that resistance, we wouldn't have come across that wall, we wouldn't have had to look at that life conditioning that we walk on our journey with, our family history, all those internalized beliefs and systems and habits, because we'd be chugging along okay. And even if it could be better, that motivation wouldn't necessarily arise. But actually, when we come across that resistance, we come across that block, this isn't working, this isn't comfortable, this isn't good, we're like, what can we do different? And it motivates us to change. And so I think it's an amazing gift that we have. And it's not always comfortable. I know that, but it's in the discomfort that we really open ourselves and really allow ourselves to be vulnerable and raw and look with a whole new mindset, and allow ourselves to use tools like EFT tapping to release that stuff that's in the way of us growing and opening up something new and easier and more wonderful and clearer. So I wish that for you. And I wanted to share that little tale with you. Okay, so I pulled us a card. I've already got it here because it jumped out the pack as I was having a shuffle as I was saying hi. And this was the card that came, and it says, recognise your first thought. And I feel like we've had this a lot lately. And I had something come up this morning, I can't think what it was, about inviting me into intuition. Oh, it was a conversation I was having with my husband. We were talking about that sort of like instant knowing, that instant hit that we both get, and how sometimes we honour it and sometimes we don't, and the muddle that can get us into when we don't. And we look back in hindsight and go, I knew that, but I pushed it down, I ignored it, and I carried on anyway. And that's okay, isn't it? But recognise your first thoughts. So notice what's coming up for you now. And I'll read the lesson on the back. It says, this is a day of intuitive practice where you acknowledge that your first thought is your best thought and usually corresponds to your clearest intuitive voice. Your goal is to pay attention to your intuition. Now, this is a card that I really resonate with. I'm a very intuitive person. How I work as a woman, as a mum, as a therapist is very much being in the moment and responding instantly with my intuition. Everybody has a different way of being with their intuition. So notice what works for you. Sometimes it's that instant hit. For me, it's a gut reaction. I feel like yes or no, I want to move towards something or away from it. It feels open or it feels closed. I feel open or I feel closed. And I know that in my body, in my energy, and I can respond to it like that. For my daughter, I notice she's like animal-like in the way that she responds to her environment. So she'll walk into a room, into a person's energy, into a space, into anything, experience of food, and it's like this really like primal instinct of yeah, it's for me, or no, it isn't for me. You know, it's very sort of primal and deep. Some people need to like have some time, have a sleep on it, allow it to settle. They might sort of move through waves of knowing. All of these things are your way and they're the right way. You need to get to find your way of being in touch with your intuition or your inner guidance. And something I've really been reflecting on as I've been moving through some lessons that I've been working through this week is to do with how our monkey mind can really get in our way, you know, and our thoughts can take over and want to run our lives. They want to be the driver of our vehicle in life. And actually our mind is a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful part of who we are. We have hands, we have legs, we have a mind. They are all useful, but they're not us. You know, there's something that we have available to us. And our mind can really want to run the show. And our mind is a useful tool when we can step back and use it consciously, and we can be aware of where its gifts lie and where its limits lie. But if we're letting it run the show, we can get into challenges because we're not allowing our true selves that has that higher knowing, that greater, wider, expansive knowing, and that access to that intuition to guide us, that allows things to unfold so beautifully with so much ease. So coming back to that, recognize your first thought and inviting you into your relationship with your intuition. Let's do a bit of tapping. So let me just feel into what wants to inspire us. So if you've never done EFT tapping before, it's very simple, and you can just join along with me if you want to. You can copy along with me and you can say it out loud if that's good for you, but if it's not, you can say it in your head. But I invite you to put some energy in. We're going to tap on some acupoints and say some words that's going to allow us to move some energy, to release some stuff that's in our way, to make a clear space for our intuition and our knowing to come through. So I'm going to use my intuition to bring some words in. If they don't quite fit for you, you can change them. You can leave some out, just say the ones that work for you. I'm holding my hand up just to show you, but you don't need to. And we're going to tap on the fleshy part of the hand underneath the little finger to set us up. This is like making sure we've got the batteries the right way in a toy or a device, that the circuit, the electrical circuit, is going to run properly. So we're just going to tap here on these acupoints, and it's going to set us up to be able to clear this stuff. So you can say after me, even though I sometimes ignore my intuition, I love and accept myself. Even though sometimes I don't know if I can hear or trust my intuition, I love and accept myself. Even though sometimes I hear my intuition and I push it away, I ignore it or I override it. I love and forgive myself. Okay, good. Now we're just going to use a couple of fingers and tap on the front of the eyebrow here and just say, sometimes I ignore my intuition, and on the side of the eye. Sometimes I push it down, push it away, under the eye. Sometimes I feel like it fails me, under the nose. Sometimes I can't even hear my intuition. I've got so much going on the chin. What if I can't trust my intuition? What if I can't? What if it's not really guiding me? What if it's off? Oh my goodness. Right over the collarbone like this. What if my intuition's broken? What if my intuition's broken? Flat hand under the arm here. I don't know if I can trust my intuition. On top of that, I don't know if I can trust myself. And just putting your hand over your heart space, 1 or 2 hands, whatever feels good. Allow yourself to take a deep breath. Just pause at the top. And as you slowly release the breath, I just want you to choose, if it feels good, to allow that energy to continue to move, to release any resistance, so that you can just let that feeling safe, feeling okay, I can trust my intuition to flow in as much as you feel ready for. And if you like to visualize or feel, you can have a sense of that filling your heart and filling your belly, and really that intuition really coming in. Maybe it has a color or a light or a warmth or a cool feeling, whatever feels good for you. Maybe it feels like something supportive within you or wrapping around you. You can put that in if that feels good for you. Right, my loves, I'm going to go. You take so much care of yourself. So much love to you. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you next week for coffee break video. Mwah! Bye.